Hello, welcome back. It's Elspeth here again, the intuitive painting healer. And today I have a very special project. I'm going to be painting one of my dear friends' dads. So this is Denison Deasey that I'll be working on. And I can hear this little lamp making a lot of noise in the breeze. What I've come to realize recently is that when I do paintings of people or pets that have crossed over, it's not just a healing experience because it's continuing on the relationship between the viewer and the person being viewed and the viewer and the viewee. Wait, yeah, viewer and the viewee. I think sometimes I pick up on unresolved issues and I'm able to sort of process them. And so when the emotions come through, I think that might be a clue in the healing process. Anyway, so this is Denison Deasey that I'll be working on, the father of my friend Louisa Deasey. Denison crossed over many years ago in the 1980s. If he was alive today, I think he'd probably be 105 years old. There's actually a lot of information in the public about him, and he was quite a prolific writer. I know a bit about him, but not a whole lot. I do know that he shares a birthday with my daughter, and I know that he lived for many years in France and also in England. He was a writer and he was active during the Second World War. And with that, I'm just gonna let the rest come through while I'm painting. I already prepared by doing an outline, sort of like a cooking show. Here's one I made earlier. I did the basis off camera. I thought that was probably a good one to do just in quiet, just me and the paper. And now I'm going to record the process. So let's begin. This is my sort of ceremonial way of opening the call, is to light a candle and get my crystals ready. Of course, I have the amethyst and quartz crystal here. All right, let's begin. I felt compelled to make a really nice strong cup of tea. That often happens where I'll get a inspiration or craving to eat something or drink something or have, wear a different kind of clothing. And yeah, I'm wearing burgundy corduroy and a cotton navy blue shirt, and that was sort of the closest thing I could find in my wardrobe today to sort of match his energy. Picking up a lot of maroon for him and strong tea. All right. So as I've been sort of mentally preparing for this painting, I've already begun sort of receiving a little bit of information from him, just in the form of textures and music. I picked up Dvorak and tweed, heavy cotton, leather shoe polish, plush corduroy pants towards the end of his life, like olive green, maroon. A lot of this stuff, when I say it out loud, I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound particularly interesting or relevant, but who am I to know what is relevant and what isn't? My goal is to be like a reporter during this. Actually, when I was younger, I wanted to be a journalist and a linguist, and I feel like that's preparing me really well for this painting. So the first colors I'm drawn to, I'm working from a black and white photo. It's a passport photo. When I start painting, I just start getting the the calls or the directions start flowing, and it's like, okay, purple here, red here, touch of green, that sort of stuff. And it goes so quickly that I don't even really question it. I just start going with it. My job is to get out of the way and to sort of insert myself into the flow of it so that I can just seamlessly ride the wave of it. Just like music, when I'm playing music with my band, it's like the muscle memory takes over, and the moment I consciously start questioning, like, is this the right note, is this the right chord, that's when like I fall out of it and I forget what I'm doing. So I have to just sort of turn off my analytical mind and just start taking the directions, and it's like the directions go directly to my hand. So right now I'm working on his hair as the first point of interest. All portraits start with like a different part. I actually, when I started the outline, I started with his suit and then his face, of course, and now I'm working on his hair. So that's kind of different. Usually you would start with someone's face. If I had to read into the significance of that, I would probably say, you know, I think that Denison was a serious man, but also quite tender, but led with respect and a regalness, and dressed for the occasion, almost like armor, like being well prepared, very well groomed. Wasn't everyone around this time though? Well, not everyone. I guess you were either handsome and dashing or totally derelict from what I've seen in the PBS documentaries. That sounds so ignorant. Okay. All right. His hair, so beautifully coiffed and so glossy. Beautifully glossy. A real point of pride, I would say. Slick. If I could see his shoes in this picture, I bet they were so shiny and glossy as well. Black, shiny shoes that he would have taken pride in shining on a Sunday night. Some other information I received before I even started the painting was a pipe, a slim tobacco pipe, kind of a small one. You could just slide it into your pocket, but it just felt so comfortable, like it just, you know, it was worn in. And back then I think my grandpa had one too, and they would like shine it with their nose. And for Denison, I picked up that it was just maybe like a Sunday afternoon sitting on the stairs. Little secret pleasure. Not necessarily a 3 packs a day guy or anything like that, but just, you know, this little pipe was just sort of a ceremonial comfort, a businessman's pleasure of the day, I guess. But part of his character, sort of like having a little bit of a secret, just something stowed away for, you know, it's like if you have a piece of chocolate in your bag and you know that it's like a safety snack or something. Just this pipe was just sort of like, nothing is gonna get too stressful. You can always feel a sense of composure. Okay, so this photo, the first number that popped into my head was 38, but if I was going to like look at it analytically, I'd be like, he could be younger than that. I don't know why 38. He could be, I don't know, he could be in his early to mid 20s. So I've seen another picture of him holding Louisa as like a toddler, and that was a really gorgeous picture. I would have definitely painted that, except I couldn't really see his face, and I really love and prefer to see the subject's face when I'm zooming in. I want to see their eyes. Even if I can't see their eyes, if they're facing me, I can fill in the rest. I want to get a front on Reed. Wow, this guy is charming. Handsome, but you know, boyish. And I don't know that he was athletic, but I do see him in like one of those, I feel like it's, I don't know why it would be woolen, but maybe cotton, but knitted vest that they wore back in the 30s, I guess, 30s, 40s, like knitted vest. Like I'm seeing the black and white. Maybe it's because I'm thinking of Melbourne and I'm thinking of the Black Swan, so I want to be careful not to just superimpose my memories. But I am seeing that. I'm seeing like a cold morning out on the field with the boys wearing one of these jerseys. Maybe, I don't know about high school, like year 11, something like that. And I don't necessarily know that he wanted to be there. I don't get that he was really, you know, muscle bound, and he had a really strong, active and curious mind. But I think he really did enjoy the camaraderie of the sportsmanship. So that's just an early sort of memory flash, is you know, one of those frosty mornings where you can sort of see the steams that are rising from the grass and the sun coming through. I can see the back of him wearing like a knitted vest, and I see like, looks like it's not cream, so it's not cricket, but there's like black in it. It's like black and white is what I'm getting. Of course I'm seeing the Edinburgh Gardens, but I don't know if that's just me and my memories. So maybe that's just like a visual representation. But what I remember of Edinburgh Gardens are these stands, like football stands, I guess, where you would sit, and they look pretty old-fashioned. They look kind of Victorian. They had like maroon and cream paint. But I don't know. I'm seeing maybe like you know, like a boys' school, like a grammar, where you sort of had to play sports, not that he wanted to, but that's sort of like a Saturday morning game. And it was something that he enjoyed from his youth. It was sort of like the hardship of the cold, but yeah, the brutal bitterness of the cold. It's like, this is not for me. This is not for me, but I'm really enjoying feeling the connection and the connectiveness with my boys. And he was sort of at the back, towards the back of the field, so not really that active. I don't see him really helping throwing any balls or anything like that, but I do see him part of the team and feeling really proud to be part of that team. And I feel that maybe was informative to what was coming. So as I'm working on his chin, I'm thinking about his life then going to France and representing Australia in his capacity. I see him as like a self-contained, autonomous, individual, independent person. There's a lot sort of beneath the surface, and I'm seeing a steamer trunk. you know those ones that they were so cool. My dad had one too, and I saw a couple recently at a thrift store. They're like they look like trunks, and you open them up, they fold out, and they've it's almost like they're lined with wallpaper. It's so beautiful inside, and they open up, and then they've got all these drawers, and they even might have like a hanger where you can hang like your suit jackets. They're so self-contained and so cool. And I don't know if he kind of lived out of that, or if that's a good sort of metaphor for him as a person, self-contained. I also feel a real pain, emotional pain. It's making me feel a little bit upset, actually, with his mum. It feels like there's something kind of physical there, like, you know, she had some sort of health issue, but I feel like a real closeness, a real connection to her, and it was very, I feel it was, they had a close connection, and it feels, something feels really painful. Something feels, yeah, really like a personal tragedy. I'm not saying that she died, or I'm not sure what it is, but I'm feeling like a real, like a, when he thinks about it, it would make him feel, you know, sad. This kind of pain, I can relate to it with my dad. My dad's still alive, but my dad left the family unit and, you know, began his other life and his other family when I was young. But when I am trying to zoom into this particular feeling that I'm picking up from Denison, it's that same feeling of like, it's just a pain. It's a very painful, like, I can feel the loving connection and the simpatico, and also like we're not able to share that anymore. It feels like when he was a boy, just like that feeling that showered in love from her, like she really understood him, like she was like right there, and I feel very, very sad, and I'm using this color. It's like a blood color. That sounds very theatrical, doesn't it? God, it really, that, you know, and that pain that I'm feeling feels like it was also his protection in a way. It's like he kept that close to his heart, and it was like a very strong feeling that he sought after with his other romantic relationships. There's nothing weird with his mom. I'm just saying that to feel that intense feeling of feeling understood and received and seen and just really loved for his essence. Like he, you know, there was no explaining necessarily. He found it like exhausting, small talk and explaining himself to people he just simply knew would not get it. Imbeciles everywhere. And, you know, he didn't want to waste his precious energy on people that just were not going to understand. But he was a very generous fellow. I find myself using words that I don't usually use. Fellow. very generous of spirit. And here's where Louisa comes in. You know, I feel that it's important for Louisa to know that it was not his intention to be an absent father. It was not his intention to have sort of left so early in her life. He has a lot of love and respect and considers their connection very, very important. And he also understood that she would be more than capable of the easiest way to say this is being in this arrangement of father and daughter where there is it's like a geographical distance, but they're close at heart. And they are close through their interests, through their talents, and he has a direct channel to guide her and communicate with her and encourage her through her craft, which is also writing. Gosh, a very earnest and sincere. Is there another word for chap? Taking the time and the care with things. Seeing deeply into people. Philosophical. Disappointed with people. I think because of this emotional wound that I'm picking up that feels very private, I feel like that he's sharing that with me because it informs partly the way he lived, and there was a little bit of a limit to his, not his love, but maybe a limit to his affection a little bit. There was he had no desire to be hurt in that same way. It was like he didn't have control over the situation when he was a boy. I'm thinking 4, 6, 8, 4 years old, and 4, 6, 8. Like it ended at 8, but 4 years old feels like a brutal moment. That was like where he felt unequipped to do anything, to, you know, like a change was sort of thrust on him, and it affected his mum's capacity to, I don't know, I feel like he wanted to help her with something, and it feels physical. And he wasn't able to, I don't know about protect, but he wasn't able to help. Really hope some of this makes sense. Otherwise, wow, what an interesting story, huh? I feel like there was a grandma, and I'm hearing mammy or ma'am, like, you know, like Irish descent or something. I don't know if I feel like there was some sort of comfort in like a distant relative, like the grandma was kind of present but not like emotionally present, like she was sort of had her own stuff going on, and she was like living in the past. So, you know, but it was his mum that felt dialed in to him. Like they would peas in a pod. And, you know, he wanted to make the family proud, and he wanted to prove himself. He had high expectations for himself, and I'm not really picking up his dad very much. I'm not really picking up that he was super close with his dad. I'm picking up that he wanted to be his own man, and he was very strong and capable of doing things that other men weren't. You know, he had just like a strong spirit, and that enabled him to be brave and to travel far by himself without needing that constant comfort. I think the emotional pain that he carried with him from his childhood equipped him to keep his cards close to his chest and to carry through the world knowing that the worst had already happened to him. I'm getting that his mum was quite striking and beautiful. Just had some strong features, like they shared, you know, eyes. I'm seeing gorgeous dark eyelashes and piercing eyes. It's kind of weird to be painting a man, and what I'm thinking mostly about is his mum. I'm picking up on a sea name, like a coral or corally. All right, what can you tell me that I can talk to me about Louisa, please? Louisa, trust your instincts stronger and stronger. That's your only compass. There's no other measurement of excellence other than whether or not you're following your own compass faithfully or not. Because your compass, it's not just yours. You're being guided to help to shepherd many people. One of your greatest strengths, Louisa, is your curiosity. Because your curiosity is based in such purity and genuine innocence and positive intention that anything that you're drawn to is important. And you are also a correspondent. And in this current world where there's so much misinformation and disinformation, you are on the front lines as a correspondent, whether you realize that or not. But you are playing a very important part in guiding people to their truth, because the truth of the world at the moment is very murky and unpalatable and also kind of irrelevant. It's the truth of oneself, the integrity of individual purpose, to love and to be loved with intention and purpose and directness and course correcting generations. You're running a serious ancestral errand as each of us were all assigned. But Louisa, you're not mistaken when you get those very strong impulses. Be a good listener, be a beginner, and you're still in service. You're deeper in service. And when it feels good to you, it is good. That is the litmus test that it's good for them too. There's an overimportance in Australia to be serious. And the more lighthearted you can be about the important heart-centered work that you're doing, feeling emotional about this. That is the most serious thing that you can do, Louisa. You don't need legitimacy. You are legitimate. Because, you know, we're all, when we have friends dying, when we have plans that fall apart, and passionate love that loses its orient, and whatever may happen in relationships, as intense as they appear, we're all working on ourselves. It's all a healing adventure, and sometimes we get to explore that together. It's really important for you to know that you have a world of scholars behind you, and there's nothing more important than the next thing that you're going to compose. The next pure thought that you speak. Louisa, you've got it. You've got a really clear channel. And it's nice to see that you're respecting it. It could be very tempting to take it on as part of your character, part of your allure, but it's not trendy. You're an excellent correspondent. Denison, how are you feeling now? Worthy. Okay, thank you. Did you ever feel unworthy in your life here? Deeply? So I matched that at every step with hard work and intention and devotion and dedication. I was so devoted. Actually, my writing could have seemed like my first wife at times. I was so committed to it because it was my direct connection to the divine and to my mother, and it was the place where my deep wounds met the elixir, the healing. I don't know that I could have articulated that at the time. I was still very interested in the outside world and how I was received, and it felt very important to be respected. I still carry on my important work, and Louisa is an excellent collaborator. And I am deeply thankful for her dedication in bringing my life through to the pages and to honoring me in that way. Honoring, that's the word. I have such deep gratitude for my daughter for honoring me in this way. And she has really, I found it very moving, and she didn't have to. But I knew that she'd find it very interesting. And these were things that I wanted to share, and to share with her that I wasn't able to in life. And I felt that I really had a second chance to be a companion with my daughter. And for that, I'm very, very deeply humbled and so thankful that she took the time and the patience. She had the patience and the aptitude to carry this arduous task through. I wanted her to see that she had the discipline that she thought she lacked, because we have similar makeups. We're very fluent in the emotional realm, and I wanted her to understand that she had the grit and the gall and the gumption to persevere, because she's going to need that with her next endeavor, which is going to take more courage, because she will feel more vulnerable. And that's so important, because the vulnerability is a very important marking of anything that's truly worthwhile, because it means that your ego is having to surrender. And that's an important meeting place for your spirit and your heart to speak louder than the egoic mind, which is really there just to hold you back onto the human plane and keep you there in a pretty insignificant way. I want you to pay closer attention to the cues that I send you so that you can trust it, so that you know when it's I in direct communication with you. Sometimes it can be a challenge to get your attention. Sometimes it can be really easy. Take those naps. They're very helpful in commanding your attention. But on the whole, you have a fertile mind, and you have no problems. You consume yourself thinking about problems, but you don't carry them with you. Pay closer attention to the cues so that you can just pick up your speed, because I am right here and I have a host of solicitors advising, suggesting, and delighting you with information that you will take such delight in transcribing. So I want you to really hone into cues that you know that it's me. When you're having a cup of tea, when you hear a piece of music, the cues will be slightly different all the time, because that's my way of showing you that I'm present. Some people will see a certain bird arrive, and that's when they know their loved one is around them. And I certainly have that as well, but I'm present with you more often than not. And so when you feel inspired action and you feel like it reminds you of me, it is. I don't want to have to send a bird every time. It's quite frank, because I am not coming back from a long departure.